Welcome. Today we'll be going through how to make a character for the Warhammer Fantasy Role-Playing System. This is the second edition. This is by far a very simple character creation. You can actually just roll percentile dice for every single aspect of your character and get a fully fleshed out character pretty quickly. But first we'll kind of go through your starting characteristics. So your first two characteristics is your weapon and ballistic skill. This is going to govern how well you're going to be in melee and ranged combat, how often you're going to hit, and also some of your other melee maneuvers. Strength is how physically strong your character is. This is mainly going to govern how strong your character is, how much weight he can lift, and how hard he's going to hit in melee. Toughness is going to be how resilient your character is, mainly governing how much damage reduction you have base on your character, as well as resist disease and poison. Agility is how nimble your character is. This is a very strong stat, so don't neglect it. It's going to govern your initiative, how good you're going to be able to dodge attacks if you have that skill. Then you'd have your intelligence, how smart your character is, because govern a wide range of skills, and how smart your character is. Willpower is how well you're going to be able to resist a lot of chaos, how mentally strong you are, resisting spells. And then you'd have, last but not least, your fellowship, which is basically just your charisma, how well you can interact with people, and how competent you are in social situations. Next, you go over to your secondary profile, which is govern how many attacks you have. Wounds is how many hit points you have. Strength, both and toughness bonus is based on your strength and toughness. It is basically those two stats divided by 10, and you just take out the first number. And that will be governed a lot of the things that you'll roll later on. Movement, mainly going to be based on your race, but that'll say how many squares you can move per action or half action. Magic, if your character is actually able to cast spells. And insanity points, as you traverse this dangerous land, you're going to run into a lot of horrible things, things that will shock you to the core. If you get so many of them, you can actually gain insanities that will govern how your character is played. It is mainly a role-playing mechanic more than anything. There are a few stat changes with some of them, but some people decide not to play with it. That's really up to the DM and his players. And then your fate points. These are going to be out of your kind of like your get out of death free tokens. You start off with so many, and as you go at your battles, if you're killed or severely maimed, you can redeem one of these and not suffer those effects. Also, this governs your amount of fate, so your fortune points. Fortune points can be used for a lot of different options, like adding an additional half action to your turn, giving you I think a 10 for your initiative, and most of my players always end up using it to re-roll failed tests, because that's just a very strong function of it. And also the fortune points are a great way to incentivize your characters for certain things. A great thing I like to do is have my players write up a report, and they can do it in the perspective of their character or just a telling of what happened. This also helps keep your guys engaged between sessions and kind of help them remind of what's going on. So that's all your characteristics. So on this chart here, you would have your 4 races you can play as: dwarf, elf, halfling, or human. Dwarfs are going to be a lot better in being fighters and tanks. Elves are much more nimble, ranged style characters. Halflings are going to be pretty good at range. They're pretty agile, but the only ones that actually get a bonus to their fellowship starting off. And then humans are just pretty well average for all their stats. Also, there's a lot more randomization because everyone has starting talents, whereas humans are going to start off with random talents. So you can get some really good ones or some pretty poor ones, depending on what you roll. So let's go roll some stats. So we'll be running up a human today. So all your stats are 2d10 plus 20. Now I got a couple of dice in hand, and we're going to start rolling. As you roll these stats, they all go into your first order. So you'll roll for your weapon skill first and ballistic and follow through until all the stats are rolled. And let's pull up my character sheet. So the first stat is going to be weapon skill. That is a 17. So I'll just put in the starting stat, weapon skill 37. Next one is an 8, so it's 28 ballistic. So this character is going to be much better at melee fighting. Rolled a 13 for strength. So that would be a 33. And now for toughness, that is a 9, so 29, which is not great. And then for agility, I rolled a 15. Oops, sorry, that'll be 35 agility. Intelligence, 7, so character's not going to be terribly smart, so that's a 27. Next is willpower, so that is a 10. So that will be a 30 for willpower. And next, fellowship. That is a 16, so a 36 fellowship. Pretty above average for some stats and just below for others. In the rule set, you do have a thing called Shaleal's Mercy, or it could be Renault, depending on which one you other fault. So you can take an average roll for one of your stats. So an average of 2d10 is 11. So for as a human, the average would be a 31. So I go back to my character sheet. So I know my weapon strength is really strong. The ballistics is not so great. If I don't use a lot of ranged weapons, it's not terrible. Strength is above average. Toughness is just below. But with these two, you always want to be hitting the next multiple of 10 as quickly as possible. So it's only 2 points I gain extra, but it does put me into a toughness of 31, which gives me a toughness bonus of 3. Agility is very strong. Intelligence, willpower just below average, and my fellowship is really good. So for that, it's too hard to pass up having a better toughness bonus. So now it's a 31, giving me 3 toughness bonus. And that'll give me 3 damage reduction to every single point of my body whenever I get hit. Now going back to your race. So each race is going to have a list of talents and skills. And these are all the ones you start off with. Being a human, you have common knowledge of the Empire, gossip, speak languages, Reichsspiel. And now you also have 2 random talents, which you'll just roll on this chart. So we'll start off by doing that. So that is a 20. So human is going to be fleet-footed, which is a fantastic talent to start off with. So let's do a quick copy and paste. It's your talents. And then the last one is going to be a 30. And so lightning reflexes. So now we'll go back to the character sheet. As you can see here in the roll 20 character sheet, I have fleet-footed lightning reflexes added. And then we'll go down to knowledge and language skills. So I'll just go common knowledge, the Empire. Put that in. and put in speak languages Reichsspiel. And also I get gossip. So this is a normal skill that you can. There's a difference between a basic skill and advanced skill. So basic skills is skills everyone can use, but as you can see, like consume alcohol, it's guided by my toughness. Since I'm not trained in it, it's half of what my characteristic is. So for me to pass a test, there's a 15% chance. Gossip is fellowship. I have an 18 on 36. And since I am now trained, it goes up to the 36. So pretty good. We'll go back later on and add the actual descriptions for your talents. Oops, of course, I always forget. You also have to roll your starting wounds and fate points. So as a human, I will roll a 1d10. I rolled a 10, so I will start off with 13. And for fate points, that is an 8, so 3. On the actual character sheet, your starting wounds is right here. So it'll be 13 and FP 3. You can also add this down here, 13 and fortune points 3. Going back to the character sheet. Now we're going to start rolling for our starting career. There are a couple ways you can do this. Obviously, you can say, hey, let your characters pick whatever their starting career is, which is fine, but it's I do like a bit more of the randomness. It does kind of make it sometimes harder starting off because if a character really wants to pay a caster, then if they don't roll up an apprentice wizard or a hedge mage or whatever, it's going to take them a lot longer to get where they want to be, and they'll always kind of feel behind, which is not great for some of the players. They might like it. So you might want to let a person roll up a mage just so you have a magic user, but I might limit it to the amount of magic users because, one, they are all very powerful, but two, they are terribly damaging to everyone around them. When they're rolling really well, they can take out things, but if they roll really poorly, they're destructive to them and everyone around them. I might cover that later on in a video, going a bit more over the mechanics of the game in a later video. Also, one thing people always seem to miss, that this is a weird spot to put it, but in your starting careers, there is a list of items every character starts off with. So common clothing, breeches, boots, shirts, cloak, dagger, sling bag, backpack, blanket, tankard, coin purse holding 2d10 crowns. You can get your characters to roll for starting crowns, or you can take average. 11 crowns is not a terrible lot of money to start buying more equipment, but it is a lot of money to start buying smaller items like rations and small tools that they could use. But now we can get it later on. Also, whenever they make their character, they get a free advance. Advance is the way you level up, and it costs 100 experience points for a basic advance. And you get one free one as you make your character, which we'll get into once I get a career. So next is a list right here. We show it. Now, these are the list of the starting careers in this book. There is the career compendium, which has a lot more options you can roll on. But for our purposes today, we'll just roll on this one. There's 4 columns: dwarf, elf, halfling, and human. So I will be rolling on the rightmost column on both sides. So by the rules, you can roll twice, and you can pick one. So that's what we'll do today. So the first one is going to be a 97, which is a woodsman. And the second one is a 10. So I can either be a bodyguard or a woodsman. So now we got to go down to those careers. And we'll pick out the careers. So a bodyguard. Now, this is what your character is going to start with. This is their advanced profile. So these are the characteristics that they can buy. They will need to buy all of your advanced scheme and also make sure they have all the skills that they are required. If it says or, you need one or the other, but you can definitely buy both. That we can cover also later on in a video. So with this one, for our bodyguard, I get plus 10 to weapon skill. I can get 5 plus strength, 5 toughness, 5 agility, 1 more attack per round, and 3 wounds. So pretty good, as my character is definitely a great fighter naturally. Skills dodge blow, which is fantastic. So that way, whenever I get attacked in melee, I have a chance to dodge an attack per round. Heal, another fantastic skill. Healing is extraordinarily limited in this setting. So having someone able to heal, would be really nice. And you have Intimidate and Perception. So 2 very basic skills. If you have any experience with any kind of role-playing games, those are kind of self-explanatory. I can scare people and intimidate them the way I want. And Perception is just the way I see the world. Talents, I can start off with Disarm or Quick Draw. Either one's pretty alright. Quick Draw allows you to ready a weapon as a free action, and Disarm allows you to try and disarm people during combat, which can be fairly situational. Sometimes it's just easier just to kill someone off and then trying to make them weak, but it is very situational. If you're trying to take someone alive, or you want to stop someone from fighting, but you don't want to outright kill them, that could be quite useful. Specialist weapon group parrying, which is okay. Parrying is rules as written is kind of, I find, very underwhelming, which is alright. Specialist weapon group throwing, which is, you don't have a terrible lot of range. They don't do a lot of damage, but it can be very situational. Street fighting, which makes you better for unarmed. Strike to stun, which is a combat maneuver you can get where you can forego doing damage and you can actually just try and knock someone out. You can start off with very strong or very resilient. Very strong is bonus to your strength. Very resilient, bonus to your toughness, so quite nice. You can get a plus 10 to both of these, which can get you up the extra bonus. The bonus thresholds would be quite nice. Trappings, buckler, knuckle duster, a pair of throwing axes or throwing knives, light armor, a leather jack, and we'll ignore career entries because that doesn't really matter for us, but career exits, these are the type of careers you can exit from this career into your next one. So you can become a bailiff, bounty hunter, interrogator, jailer, mercenary, protagonist, and racketeer. So this guy can be a bit of a underground enforcer by the sounds of it. Now, the other option was the woodsman. There we go. So we're at the top of this page. Now, quite similar. I can get plus 10 to weapon skill. I can now get plus 10 to strength, 5 to agility, 10 to willpower, which can be quite nice because I have just below average willpower at 30, plus 3 wounds. You can get concealment, which is your hide skill, follow trail or set trap, perception, gale sheer surface, secret language ranger tongue, secret signs ranger, and silent move. Talent is fleet-footed or very resilient. I already have fleet-footed, so I can just pick up the very resilient and be a little quicker through this career. Rover is a talent for hiding in rural areas. And specialist weapon group two-handed. Two-handed weapons are fantastic. They'll give you impact, which gives you advantage on damage rolls. Crits are based on how much damage you do, so it is quite nice. Trappings, great weapon, two-handed axe, light armor, leather jack, antitoxin kit, and then you can exit out into a hunter, militiaman, outlaw, or scout, or vagabond, which are some excellent choices as well. But I think for this I'll go for the bodyguard. Just because that way I can get the extra attack per round, which is actually quite strong early on. So now I've got to copy all this information into my character sheet. Let's see. So here we are on the career tab. So we can just put bodyguard. So I need 10 weapon skill, 5 strength, 5 toughness, 5 agility. Gain an additional attack, 3 wounds. Career talents, copy and paste. Oops, sorry, that's career talents, and then skills. So in this career tab, I can see everything I will need to complete before I get the next career. Now, when you make a character, you would start off with all your skills and talents, except for when it says you pick either or. So I'll start putting those in. So for skills, I'll do dodge blow. It's one of your advanced skills, so I'll put that to train. I have a 35% chance to dodge attacks. Heal, it's got a 27% chance to heal someone. It's a little tiny bit better than a quarter of the time, but it is still better than nothing. Intimidate. Now, Intimidate can be based on fellowship or strength. So I could go Intimidate fellowship, but I think even though it's lower, I'll stick with the strength. And we'll go with perception, so that's trained. Now I'll start adding all my talents. Sorry, wrong one. There you go. So we'll go disarm or quick draw. We get specialist weapon group parrying, specialist weapon group throwing, street fighting, strike to stun, and then we get very strong or very resilient. Since neither of them will put me up to the next threshold, it's not going to make a terrible difference. But I would probably buy my advancement in toughness first just to get more damage reduction. So I will get the very resilient first. And now let's go to your inventory and add all your starting trapping. So it'll be your buckler, your knuckle dusters, and a pair of throwing axes instead of the knives. And I'll get some light leather at jack. Once all that information is put in, now it's going to backfill all the information. So first we will start off with putting in all my talents, all the descriptions. So I do have a handy dandy cheat sheet PDF like we can use that has a list of all of them. So we'll go over to this page here. So first, and there's all alphabetical, so we'll go fleet-footed +1 movement. And so a character sheet, I'll go back, add that in. Your base movement for human is 4, and as per talent on this row here, I can just put a 1, and that'll give me 5. So per round I can move 5 squares, I can charge for 10 squares, run for 15, or I can leap for 8. Next we'll go over to lightning reflexes. Copy and paste, so permanent 5 agility. So I'll go over to here, put 5 for agility. That gives me 40, so I have a 40% chance now to dodge blow. And a huge boost to my initiative for combat. Let's see, disarm. On a successful hit, I may attempt to disarm an opponent on a successful opposed agility test. Cannot disarm natural weapons. So having a higher agility than my opponent, it'll be a lot easier for me to try and disarm them. Special weapon groups, you don't have to add that. Street Fighter. So that gives me plus 10% weapon skill and plus 1 damage when making unarmed attacks. Strike to stun. If hitting with an attack, it may attempt to stun for 1d10 rounds instead of inflicting damage by making a strength test, followed by your target making. Followed by your opponent making a toughness test. They get plus 10% for each armor point on their head. Stun characters cannot take any action or dodge. So it's quite nice if I'm trying to bring someone in. And of course, last but not least, I have a resilient, which is a plus 5 to my toughness. And I'll add that up here. So that's all of that information now put in. And I also get, like I said earlier, I get 1 free advancement. So I will advance my attack characteristic. So now I have 1. Sorry, I got 1 advancement, so I have 2 attacks. So these 2 careers, this is what my career will give me. So I get 1 attack, 3 wounds, followed by 10, 5, 5, 5 up here. And you just gotta fill this in. So now I got 1 advancement. I can't get any more attacks per round until I get a career that offers that to me. Next we gotta fill in our weapons. So like I said earlier, you do get a hand weapon to start off with, which is, if anything else, we could add your encumbrance if you're following a strict weight limit, but a lot of people don't, so we'll just leave that for now. This will give me your weapon bonus to hit. So we have a base 37 to hit. It's strength bonus plus to damage, so you add no extra damage, just a 1d10 plus your strength bonus, which is 3. So now we'll add in the rest of the weapons. We have a knuckle duster, which gives you a strength bonus minus 3, and it has the qualities of pummeling. So that does make it a lot easier to damage. So pummeling gives you a plus 10 to your strength check when strike to injure. So if I want to try and knock someone out, it'll be a lot easier. I have a buckler, which is, there it is. Bucklers is a part of the parrying group, so it's -4 for damage. It's balanced. It has, so it means it doesn't suffer penalties when you're considered dual wielding it, so I can try and knock someone out. It's defensive, so I get a bonus to trying to parry attacks, and it's also pummeling as well. So if I'm fighting people with my hand weapon, I can still try and knock them out with a buckler. Last thing is to add in was the leather jack, which is just your arms and body covering. So go to body and put leather jack. Add the light and to arms. So that's worn. So now you can see on the hit locations. So if I get hit in the head, I get 3 damage reduction, arms and body 4, and 3 for legs. The way this armor system works, that you get a set of light armor, and then you can overlap medium armor to it, which will give you more. So if I was to, let's say, get a chainmail vest on, it'll add 2 more AP, so I'll have 6 damage reduction. But the more armor you wear, the less maneuverable you'll be. Wearing medium armor poses a -10 to your agility, and heavy armor lowers your movement by 1, unless you have the sturdy talent. So take that off, so back down to 4. And with that, your character is ready to go. There are options in the core rulebook you can randomize every aspect of your character. So we go back to the book, so you can roll for your height, hair color, weight, eye color, your distinguishing marks, number of siblings, how old you are, star sign, birthplace, your names. So you can have a fully randomized character, and it'll be ready a lot quicker than trying to plan everything out. But that is just one way of making your character. So with that, this character is now ready to go. Just give him a proper name, and then he's all set. That is where I think we'll leave it for today. So I will be adding some more videos going over the rules and mechanics of the game and giving you my thoughts and maybe ways to improve some of the aspects where this game does come a little lacking. But that will be later on in other videos. Soon you'll also start seeing some videos of the sessions I've been running with 2 of my friends. It's just a 2-person campaign. We're going through a bunch of different adventures with them, and hopefully I will see you guys there as well. With that, thanks again for stopping by. Please do like, subscribe, and hopefully leave a comment about some of the characters you've made. And if you do end up making some campaigns based on the system, please let me know all about it. I'd be excited to hear it. And with that, have a good day and take care.